realize I catch a lot of flack for making these videos while I'm driving, but if you haven't noticed, I'm not spending my time watching you, but rather watching the road. So, and it's good use of my time. So I had somebody ask me if I've ever gone through periods of my life when I felt close to God and then distant from Him, you know, each day being different. And when I was in the private prison in 2011, you know, in Philippians he says to search out your own salvation with fear and trembling. Well, that's exactly what I was doing, because I remember times in my life when I was growing up where I felt close to God, and then after that, you know, I had a needle in my arm, or was carrying a gun, or drugs, or alcohol, or sleeping around, you know, all of these things that it would indicate, obviously, that I was not in a close relationship with God. And so I needed to know, where was God? Had He given me His Holy Spirit at one point in my life before? And then here I was at a different time and He took Him from me? And I needed to know. And so part of that search, because I know that it says that the Holy Spirit is the guarantee and the deposit of promise. So both of those things, we know what a guarantee is, we know what a promise is. So, okay, well, that means that the Holy Spirit didn't go anywhere, which makes sense because He says don't quench the Spirit. Before the New Covenant in the Old Testament, the Holy Spirit would come and go, like He did with Saul. He was there with Saul, and then God cast Saul out and withdrew His Spirit, and then sent a distressing spirit to Saul. But I needed to know for my own life, where was God? What did that look like? How did it work? And I remember I started to read the book of Isaiah, and the Holy Spirit has to open up the Bible to us. And when I tried to read Isaiah at that time, I mean, I could read the words, but it wasn't opening up like the rest of the Bible had been. So I remember I tried to read, I maybe got to chapter 6 or 7 or something, and I closed my Bible, and I went to God again in prayer, and I said, okay, this is obviously not the right place. What is it that you want me to read? And He took me to the book of Jeremiah. And Jeremiah is my middle name. It's Osa Jeremiah. And my mom had told me I was actually named after the prophet. And it was the book of Jeremiah. I'm trying to say this without getting all emotional. That God used to show me that I have always been His, and that He's drawn me with an everlasting love, and there was never a time in my life when He wasn't there with me and for me. As He was drawing me through different things, different times, He was there nonetheless. And when there were times when I was in my sin and had a needle in my arm and was sleeping around, and the God was still there. Oh, talk about being ashamed. But nonetheless, that was when God solidified in my heart the truth of the doctrine of election, the truth of His love for us from all eternity, and that the times when I felt close and the times that I didn't, God was there nonetheless, regardless of how I felt. And then, even that being said, there were times after that, going through a season, I remember there was like a 2-week period where the Holy Spirit, I felt a distance, and I remember just praying and like to the point of tears because of that distance. And I was just asking God, saying, I don't understand, you know, I'm trying to crucify myself. I'm trying to deny myself and be close to You. I don't understand where You're at. And it was like for 2 weeks. And then the day came about 2 weeks later, and I was in the shower, and I broke down in tears because the Holy Spirit showed me then, at that moment, that the dying is something that happens simultaneous to faith. So the first part is to believe, and because we believe, we die. Anyways, just thought I'd share that. I thought I had it written down somewhere, maybe in my blog, but I didn't. So now there's that to share with you. God bless you.